Josh Hasten here, Land of Israel Network, at thelandofisrael.com, and this is Israel Uncensored. We're recording here in Jerusalem, Sunday the 17th of November. It is the eve of the sixth night of Hanukkah, about to light Hanukkah candles here in Jerusalem, the 29th of Kislev 5778. Get in touch with me during the week, Josh at thelandofisrael.com, on Twitter at Josh Hasten, and on Facebook, Joshua Hasten. Now, as you probably know by now, the Vice President of the United States, Mike Pence, is scheduled to arrive in Israel on Wednesday. Originally, he was supposed to actually come today on Sunday, pushed off his trip for a big vote there in the Senate. We won't get into that, but the question I have to the people here in the Mamila area of Jerusalem, you can probably hear the background noise as people are celebrating Hanukkah, is what do they think of the upcoming visit of Vice President Mike Pence? So we're going to talk to the people here in the street and see what they have to say. Excuse me. Vice President Mike Pence is on his way to Israel, as you know. Tell me, first of all, tell me what you think about the Vice President's visit.
Oh, I think it's amazing. It's wonderful that he's coming to show his support for Israel. Trump's announcement that Jerusalem is the eternal capital of Israel is just a breathtaking, amazing thing for Jews all over the world. It's something we've always known, and now he's proclaimed it clear and loud. Mike Pence coming, it's just amazing. We're so excited that he's going to be here. And
you live here in Israel. Let's just clarify, because there's a lot of tourists here in Mamila, as well as Israelis. You made Aliyah, yes?
Yes, I live here in Jerusalem.
So would you say this is a historic event? I mean, he's the vice president. He's not, the President Trump was already here. I mean, how do you think this is going to be any different? A bigger event than the president, a smaller event? I mean, no, Mike Pence was really, in the forefront of the Jerusalem Declaration by President Trump. I think he had a lot to do with it. Even in front of the scenes, you could see him in the frame when the president spoke last week talking about Jerusalem and signing that memorandum that the U.S. recognizes Jerusalem as Israel's capital. Bigger visit, more important, or on the same level, or less important than the President Trump's visit?
I think it's historic. I think it's unprecedented. I think Trump has done amazing things for Israel. It doesn't matter that Trump didn't come. He sent his number one right-hand man. Mike Pence is a true lover of Israel, of Jews, of Zionism. The fact that he's decided to take time and come here to the Middle East and to Jerusalem, it's unprecedented. It's historical, and it's a very important statement.
And we are still here in Mamila, and I'm going to be speaking to, he's a proud American. He has the American flag on his hat. You're from the U.S., sir?
Yes, sir, of course.
And what do you think about the visit of Vice President Mike Pence, scheduled to arrive in Israel this coming Monday? What does it mean to you as an American visiting Israel?
I am very proud of my Vice President, Mike Pence. Not only is he the vice president that I've been admiring now for many years, and since I am a Hoosier from the state of Indiana, he was not only the vice president, he was my congressman first, and then he was my governor, and we think that he is certainly a great Zionist. He is evangelical Christian, and he loves Israel, and I am so proud of him that he is coming to Israel, and the first thing is going to the Kotel, I understand, and then he's giving a speech at the Knesset. I am tickled pink that he's here.
The declaration last week, or about 10 days ago now, that the United States recognizes Jerusalem as its capital, a lot of people are saying it's just a symbolic declaration. It doesn't mean anything practically. What, in your vision as an American, what do you think it means for the future of U.S.-Israel relations, for the future status of Jerusalem in terms of potential negotiations? What has the move by the president actually done, and what does it mean for the future of Israel?
In my opinion, it's the most important historical event since the establishment of the State of Israel. That's how I think is how important that is, that the United States of America is recognizing Jerusalem as the capital of the State of Israel. The most important thing that's happened since 1948.
Would you say it's up there with the Balfour Declaration, for example? Is it that significant?
Even more than the Balfour Declaration.
Explain. Elaborate on that.
Elaborate on that. What happened 100 years ago is just Balfour was just talking about a homeland, for the Jews. We are talking about the state of Israel, the place where they are no longer Jewish refugees like I used to be a refugee myself. Now it's Israel. So it's even much more important than the Balfour Declaration, in my opinion, that this is the capital of the Jewish state, Jerusalem. And I am hoping very much that embassies are going to be moved to Israel to Jerusalem because of that.
Well, Jerusalem and Israel interchangeable.
Exactly.
If you go along with the declaration by President Trump, and if you're just joining us now, we're talking to the man on the street about Vice President Pence's upcoming visit to Israel. Here we actually found a Hoosier, somebody from Indiana, to give us comments. Thank you very much, and enjoy Hanukkah.
Thank you very, very much, and Chag Sameach to you and to all Israelis. I am so delighted to be here at this important event in the Jewish history.
And now we are going to go back to a local Israeli who lives in the Jerusalem area. We're here again outside the old city walls in the Mamila. What, in your opinion, sir, is the significance of Mike Pence, the Vice President of the United States' upcoming trip to Israel this week?
I think that Mike Pence's visit right after Donald Trump's statement is reiterating the American commitment to what's been said. I think this kind of visit at this time, not running away and hiding and standing behind this declaration, it's a very big step, and I do believe at the end of the day it is going to lead for peace.
So let me ask you this. We have seen a spike, if you will. We've had ups and downs since our existence and way before in terms of the violence carried out by our neighbors here, the Arabs, not only in Jerusalem but throughout Judea and Samaria. Since the declaration, we've seen rockets being fired. We've seen all different types of terror attacks. I dedicated almost an entire show last week talking about how it was not a result of Trump's speech, but rather this was an excuse to go out and launch these terror attacks against the Jews here in Israel. Would you subscribe to that? Because you do have a significant opinion that because of Trump's speech and his rhetoric from the European Union and from that it was a mistake, first of all. Some said that, and others said that this is the reason the violence we have here now in the last several days is a result of his speech. What would you say to those people who believe that?
So I would say it's not as a result of his speech. Throughout the years, we've been here more than 1 or 2 weeks. We've seen that every time there is a move by Israel, there is a complete outrage. And so this is not, they don't need an excuse to start shooting rockets. So I don't think it is the follow-up of that. And I think actually, thank God, like things are calm because America stand behind what it says. And you know what? The most important thing for me by his trip here is not for our neighbors, the Arabs. It's for the Israelis themselves. The Israelis themselves have to realize that America said its virtue. That's the most important thing for me. So,
and just the final question. So, what will you be following his trip here? Will you be watching it on TV? Do you think most Israelis will be tuning in, or is just another visit here by another politician from another country? Is this trip going to be special? I guess is my ultimate question.
We don't know. We don't know how things turn out to be here because the trip will have its own nature. And right now it's kind of far away, but the minute he's going to come here and he's going to be speaking in Jerusalem, I guess something is going to happen, and it probably awakens the Arabs again to start whatever they're starting.
And there are media reports that the Arabs, our neighbors, will protest even more vociferously in the coming days and during the Pence trip. Let's hope for the best, and thank God we have an army, we have a state behind us to protect us, who can handle, I believe, any situation, what may come. So I want to thank you for your time, and let's hear some more good news.
Amen.
And here we have another tourist here in the Mamila area who would like to comment on the visit of the Vice President coming to Israel. What are your thoughts and feelings as an American in these historic, I'll call them historic times, the Vice President of the United States, a pro-Israel Vice President who has pledged his allegiance to Israel time and time again, at least every time I've heard him speak, said how important the U.S.-Israel relationship is. What's your thoughts on the upcoming trip of the Vice President?
Chovev is the Jewish people and the country of Israel. He believes in it. He studies the Bible, and he connects to this country. It gives us energy to declare Jerusalem. They didn't need to declare Jerusalem as the capital. It's always been the capital of the Jewish people.
And I want to know, the schedule of the trip was supposed to include a visit to Mahmoud Abbas, and apparently Mahmoud Abbas and all of the cronies in the Palestinian Authority, and let's call them what they are, the jihadists and those who are inciting to violence against the state of Israel on a daily basis, they've canceled the trip. They want to have nothing to do with Vice President Pence or his entourage or his trip. What's your feeling on the fact that that aspect of his trip is canceled? He's not meeting with the Palestinian Authority. Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? What are your thoughts?
It's not a good thing, but they want peace. They should come to the table. I don't believe in two states, actually. I wanted to give them autonomy. They want to live here in peace. They can work together and live much better life than they live in Syria or any other place while they're being killed. It's about time they face the truth that in 47 or 1948, they could have had a state. Jordan is Palestine, not East Bank or West Bank. There's no West Bank. It's the West Bank of Jordan, not Israel.
There you have one of the opinion, I would say maybe on the right wing, or an alternative to the two-state solution. Jordan is Palestine, and that is a legitimate, I believe, a legitimate option out of the several options. Go back and check out our colleague Yishai Fleischer's article outlining all of the various options aside from a two-state solution. So I want to thank you for your time, and come back and visit Israel soon.
I hope so, very soon.
And we'll continue here on Mamila, getting opinions and thoughts of both native Israelis and Americans and others who may want to comment on the upcoming trip of the Vice President to the State of Israel. And here are two young, here's a high school student, an Israeli high school student, and she just a few things. Excuse me, 1 second. Tell me, in your opinion, the trip of Vice President Mike Pence, first of all, what grade are you in?
I'm in 10th grade.
10th grade. What is your opinion, if you have an opinion, on the upcoming trip of the Vice President of the United States to Israel?
I think it's very good because it shows that Americans like us.
You think most Americans like Israel?
Nope.
You don't think so?
No.
I would disagree with you. I would think that most Americans
do. It helps.
How does it help?
It helps by showing their support.
Thank you very much. Short and sweet, to the point. Thanks for your comments. And here we have another Israeli who has served in the IDF. He lives with his family in the center of the country. He is here celebrating Hanukkah with his family in Jerusalem, here at the Mamila area mall. And I want to know from you, as an Israeli, as someone who has served in the army, what are your thoughts on Vice President Mike Pence coming to Israel this week?
Well, I think Vice President Pence coming now to Israel in this specific time, while everything is, while we can call it like burning all around here in Jerusalem and all over Israel and Judea and Samaria, I think it shows a lot of the support and the real true support that Mike Pence has towards the Israeli population and the people and the state and the government probably. I see it as a really big hug and support from the American nation to Israel.
And what is your level of concern? You mentioned the violence and everything going on now, rockets being fired from Gaza. It seems like there's an increase in stabbings, and definitely my listeners know that if you follow me on Facebook or on Twitter, I try to post as much as possible about the daily rock attacks. There's definitely been an increase. I mean, it happens all the time, but there's been, I would say, somewhat of an increase. And then we had over the weekend, we had a stabbing attempt on a soldier, and he was potentially had a bomb around him. Also today, by the way, another bomb, pipe bomb found on an Arab in Samaria, outside of the Samaria military court, I believe. What are your thoughts on the violence that we're having now? I think, I say it's an excuse from the Pence speech, but I don't want to put words in your mouth. What do you feel?
I feel also it looks like an excuse. I think that they're shooting themselves in the leg, as you say in Hebrew, and the way that they're reacting to what's going on now, and after President Trump's announcement of Jerusalem being the capital of Israel, I think they're doing a big mistake, because they can see this also as a big chance for them also to get whatever they want, and they want in all the process of the peace process, if you want to call it that way. And I think if they'll continue to act this way, it will also show the American nation, the government of the United States, who's the problem, who's doing all the problems here in the Middle East and in Israel specifically.
What do you think? What do your neighbors rather think? You live in the center of the country, not here in Jerusalem, not in Judea and Samaria, but closer to the Tel Aviv area. I mean, is this something you've discussed with your neighbors? Or are people in your circles, are they happy that the president came out with a statement on Jerusalem? Are they concerned? Do they think it was a mistake? Because I'm hearing all sorts of voices. If you listen to the evening news here in Israel, we hear people who are for, against. You have politicians. I would say the majority were supportive. Some were against. What's going on in the center of the country, if you can give us that perspective?
Well, I can say that the impact is in a good way for all the people in the country, right? It doesn't matter if you're from the center or from Judea and Samaria in the Gaza area. I think the impact is good, but I've got to say that when you're not close to the area that gets the impact, gets the bombing, get the rockets from Gaza or Judea and Samaria stabbing and all terror attacks, you can't even think about it. When you're in the center, Tel Aviv, Herzliya, Ra'anana, Asharon area, you can't even think about it. You don't feel it, and you can't even see the connection between Trump, Vice President Pence, Vice President coming now to Israel. You can't even see the connections, and it's sad to say when you don't feel it and you don't see it, you don't even think it exists.
Well, in the last war in 2014, I know that where rockets were falling on all parts of the country, on Tel Aviv, on Jerusalem, on Gush Etzion, where I live, certainly the communities, the belt surrounding Gaza. Let's hope it doesn't get that far. God forbid. I would not want rockets in any part of the country, and I don't think we've had a rocket in the last 48 hours. Your thoughts on whether you think this is going to escalate even further, or you think it's going to die down? You think it's all under control?
I think actually there's no control right now with what's going on in the Gaza area.
No control.
I think Hamas does not control all the other groups and militias inside Gaza right now. I'm sure both sides, also the Israeli and the Hamas in Gaza, they don't want to get into a serious impact and a serious possibility of getting to war, as they did in 2014. But it's an explosive barrel, how you say in Hebrew. It can explode in any minute.
A powder keg is the expression in English.
Exactly, that's what I meant. And I think Hamas should be very careful, because I think and I feel that Israel is ready for any act and any move in any time.
Well, I want to thank you for your time, for joining us here on the holiday of Hanukkah. Thanks for talking to us here in Mamila. And let's all hear good things. Let's be safe.
Amen. Thank you very much.
There you have it, folks. A lot of different voices, Israelis, Americans, people from the Jerusalem area. And there you had a voice from the center of the country, somebody who's done service in the IDF. And, from everyone we've talked to, you had different slants and different angles to the upcoming Pence visit. It seems from the people we talked to, this is not a scientific study, just people I pulled over here. It seems like most people are very happy that the vice president is coming, feel it's a true sign of friendship, a true sign of support. Again, not scientific, but just pulling people. I personally think it's a historic visit. I think, as I mentioned, I believe last week, that the vice president has a lot to do with the fact had a huge impact on the president making his statements on Jerusalem just about a week and a half ago or so by now. And I think that's the main reason why he was in the frame, as you saw him standing at the president's side when he made the declaration on Jerusalem. And again, I can't stress this enough, in my opinion, that these are excuses. These are excuses to resort to violence. The president's statement, another excuse. It could be his statement. It could be the Temple Mount. And these are blood libels when the Arabs, unfortunately, time and time again, accuse the Jews of changing the status quo in Jerusalem or changing it on the Temple Mount. And, well, first of all, if you ask me, I believe Jews should be allowed to pray on the Temple Mount. That goes without saying, and that's a conversation for a different show. But any excuse possible, the daily jihad and the daily incitement continues. Follow Palestinian Media Watch, and all their information they're putting out in the English language about what the Arabs are saying, those who are living in Judea and Samaria, their leaders in the Fatah, and certainly Hamas. Listen to what they're saying on a daily basis, and that is the reason behind the violence, and not a declaration by the U.S. president about something that we already know, of course, that Jerusalem is and has been and always will be holy to the Jewish people, whether it's 3,000 years ago or today. So I want to thank all of those who took the time to stop for a few minutes here in Mamilo, Jerusalem, on this it's the sixth day, officially the sixth day of Hanukkah, the 17th of December, 2017, 29th of Kislev, 5778. That's going to do it for today. Big shout out to Benjamin Bresky. Without him, there is no sound. Thank you to all the listeners. Again, get in touch with me during the week. Josh you hear the partying going on here. Josh at thelandofisrael.com. On Facebook, Joshua Hasten. On Twitter, at Josh Hasten. This is Israel Uncensored. And wishing everyone a wonderful, happy Hanukkah, or happy holidays to you, whatever your persuasion or religion or whatever you're celebrating during this time. Most importantly, between now and when we speak again next week, everybody out there, be safe. Shalom, shalom, from just outside the old city walls of Jerusalem.
Hanukkah light burns so bright. Hanukkah, Hanukkah, come light the menorah. Up in my lockers in the air sometimes. Light one candle for the Maccabee children. Happy Hanukkah, I wanna give a gift to you.
Hi, this is Josh Hasten, host of Israel Uncensored. And on behalf of all of the show hosts here, we want to wish our listeners all over the world a happy Hanukkah and all the best from Jerusalem. Happy holidays from the team here at the Land of Israel.